Hey, did you know that the Biden administration might not be telling you the whole truth about the economy? Say it ain't so, Rich. Say it ain't so. Today, we're going to expose the lies and deceit behind the administration's portrayal of America's financial state. And we're going to hear it from a Democrat economist who just can't let the Biden lies continue without providing us with a cold dose of reality. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So it appears that dear leader Joe Biden has been trying to pull the wool over our eyes when it comes to the state of our economy. That means he lied his ass off for those of you from the left. During his State of the Union disaster of a speech, Biden downplayed the significance of inflation by bragging about the creation of 15 million jobs, which came because of the comeback from COVID. It had nothing to do with his Build Back bitterness. Biden went on and pointed fingers at corporations for the soaring prices of goods, which he attributes to shrinkflation. Here's a great example of shrinkflation. Do you remember when Barack Obama started destroying his economy and the cost of inflation under him made the manufacturing of water bottles different? Do you remember that? Do you remember how when you tried to open a water bottle and you took the cap off because you had to hold it, the plastic was so thin that the water shot out when you took the lid off? Do you remember that? That bottle companies had to either charge you more money for the water bottles or they had to make do with less materials to make those bottles. That's shrinkflation. So when you get less food for the same price, that is the cost, the government's inflation. Remember this. Take this, if nothing else, from this video. Only the government can cause inflation. Inflation is caused by increasing the money supply without any manufacturing of products or goods or services behind it. People can't do that. Only the government can. So shrinkflation is a term that old Joe probably heard an economist use once, and so he took it. He's a plagiarist. Imagine the president of the United States using jargon he doesn't fully understand. Shocking, I know, but fear not, my friends, for we have a knight in shining armor to save us from his web of lies. So enter Gary Cohn, an American businessman and philanthropist who also happens to be a Democrat. Now, this might surprise you, but Cohn isn't buying Biden's Fairytale. You see, Cohn served as the 11th director of the National Economic Council, and get this, he was chief economic advisor to President Donald Trump from 2017 to 2018. Those are the years Trump's policies were born that made America great again. So, what did the economic advisor, Democrat, have to say about Biden's rosy portrayal of the economy? Nothing short of giving us a lot of common sense truth in the world of economics, something neither Joe Biden nor anyone in his administration is capable of doing. Cohn dispelled the illusion that Biden had painted, particularly with regard to inflation. Let's give it a watch.
Corporations are taking advantage of the little guy. I mean, he went down to the 10% fewer Snickers in the bag analogy in his speech, basically saying you're getting ripped off. So what do you make of that idea, though, and the explanation he's trying to make for why people are experiencing inflation, even though the rate is coming down?
How do you hear this?
Well,
This
let's talk about inflation for a minute, because I think it's a really important concept for everyone to understand. Inflation has a compounding effect. Meaning, as you look at inflation year over year, you're adding up those numbers. You're not starting at a zero every year. Right. So if we had 6% inflation last year, 7% inflation, and now we have 4% inflation, that's 10% inflation.
Get that?
So if you take a basket of groceries at the beginning of 2020, just a simple basic basket that cost $100, it costs well over $125 today, because those 4% one year and 7% one year and 7% the next year, they add up. They're cumulative. So there's a huge cumulative effect inflation.
So when people are being told, consumers, you're wrong, inflation's heading, no, they're right.
They're completely right.
Actually.
Did you get that, guys? It's really important that you guys understand what he just said. I know economists can come off sometimes as really boring as hell, but not this guy. What he said was that if you had 6% inflation in one year and 4% the next, that it's actually 10%. Biden can't say, well, it's coming down. Now, why do prices remain high? One of the reasons is because, let's take that bottle of water again, that example. When they manufactured that water bottle, it was under a 6% inflation. It affected the manufacturing of that water bottle. After a while, they can't make water bottles any thinner, so the price has to go up. The same thing happens with everything else, including food. So what happens is, now that you have 4% inflation, if we go with this example, 4%, which is still bad, because under Trump we had practically no inflation. But the things that were manufactured under 6% are still in the store. You can't say, well, inflation's come down, so you got to cut the price of it. You can't do that. That's ignorant. And that's what Joe Biden was trying to say, that the corporations were gouging people. So Cohn pointed out inflation has a compounding effect, that you look at inflation year over year. You add up the numbers. You don't start every year with zero again, as the Bubas administration will tell you. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Cohn dropped another bombshell. Let's not forget the elephant in the room, the public's growing distaste for Biden's lack of economic management. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Probably why he's trying to sugarcoat his disastrous economy every chance he gets. Look, the amalgamation of inflation and soaring interest rates, justified by the Federal Reserve to combat inflation, it forms a toxic mixture of Biden's prospects to get reelected. Yay! Because in the end, look, guys, when it gets down to brass tacks, people vote with their wallets. And Donald Trump has a track record of making your wallet bigger. So Cohn here, he sympathized with the plight of everyday Americans grappling with the inflation crisis. He highlighted how the erosion of purchasing power and the exorbitant interest rates have rendered the dream of home ownership unattainable for way too many people. Remember, the Democrats for years said, the American dream is owning a home. Well, watch this.
People were losing purchasing power, and that's why people were angry. And then take on top of that the high interest rate environment, where if you thought you might have been in a position to buy a house because you save money, you go out to get a mortgage at 7 or 8%, you can't afford a house.
That's right. The escalating costs of living, coupled with the astronomical cost of investing in a future through home ownership, it's left a bitter taste in the mouths of way too many Americans. In the end, Gary Cohn's candid assessment serves as a wake-up call, urging us all to see beyond this facade, this fairy tale rhetoric, and confront the harsh realities of the economic landscape that's before us. You got to vote right in November. As the nation navigates through turbulent economic waters, transparency and accountability remain paramount. Does anyone think you're going to get that from this administration? All right, guys, smash that like button if you think Biden is trying to pull a fast one on the American people with his economic lies. And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Please share these videos with like-minded friends who want to stay informed. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.